What's up YouTube? This is John Helm with Homewood Shop and Smithy with yet another knife making video. If you watched yesterday, you saw me make some modifications to my forge to hopefully make it more conducive to the task at hand, which is currently welding up a piece of cable Damascus and forging a knife from it. So I put on a different tweer cover, I put a border on the outside, I put some clay in the bottom. It looks horrible, but I believe it should be functional and it should help me get the job done. But before I can do that, I need to prepare some cable for welding, which is going to require the use of the welder. So let's head over to the welding table. Alright, so this is my welding table. As you can see, it is made out of garbage, like most of the things in my shop. I welded the top out of some railroad tie plates. The base here is just some 2-inch piping that I have left over from the project. This table weighs a ton, and it doesn't have any casters on it. So while I have it pulled all the way over here, next to the 220 outlet where I can use it, I'm going to flip it over and put some casters on the bottom. And here it is, casters on. Even with the casters on it, it's a bear to move around. This thing is super heavy. There are a couple other things that I'd like to do it, but I'll save those for another day. Mostly just put some hooks on the side to hang the cables from. Probably something to hang the angle grinder off as well. But we are good to go now. I'm going to start welding up the cable so we can try welding it together in the forge. Alright y'all, I got the cable cut into sections, ends welded up, and handles stuck on. I made 3 of these little ones, singles, so ideally I'll be able to forge weld these, square them off, grind them, and then forge weld 3 of these together to make a full-size billet. I also made one with all 3 on it. I saw a lot of people do this on YouTube. I did notice most of them were using new cable, not old rusted cable like this. I'm assuming that there's a good reason for that, but we'll give it a shot anyway just to see how it goes. Alright, the forge is lit. While I'm building up a fire bed, I'm just going to let this soak up a little bit of heat. That way it'll be easier to get up to temperature once the fire is good and hot. Let's see how this goes. Right out of the gate, I can tell you that this new forge setup is going to be far superior to what I had before. So much easier to control the heat on the workpiece than it was with that big thing all around it. And I'm going to try not untwisting it this time. Alright, first welding heat. Back in the fire after brushing the flux. Alright, second welding heat. Very nicely. Very nice. Whew. So I was burning my hand. My hammer hand. Okay, I got that piece all forge welded up. I think it went really well. It definitely went better than it did the last 2 times I tried. But of course, I don't want to get my hopes up. The new forge, it works beautifully. So if this doesn't work out, at least I know that that's not the problem. It's something else that I'm doing. It was so easy to manage the piece in the fire. It was so easy to make sure that you had a nice coal bed full of nice little pieces of charcoal. One thing you don't want is a big flat piece of charcoal right on top of your tweer and then your workpiece right on top of that charcoal. It's never going to get hot that way. So managing your coal bed is key to getting forge welding temp. I had a little bit of sparking, but it was really just enough sparking to make me feel comfortable about the amount of heat that I had. Not enough where you could actually see any burns on the outside. looking at this right away, it has a couple very, very shallow surface places where the very outside fibers didn't weld up. But it's my understanding that that's almost unavoidable when you're making cable Damascus. So I'm hoping that that rings true. I'll see once it cools down and grinds up. But now I'm going to put that big monstrosity in the forge and see if we can't get it hot. You can see what I'm talking about with the coal bed here. These pieces are all busted up. It's really easy to do with your workpiece or with your coal rake, whatever. Just break them up in little tiny pieces. That way you have as much surface area contact as possible on your workpiece, because that's ultimately what's going to get it up to temperature. Well, straight away I can tell you that getting this whole piece up to forge welding temperature at the same time is not likely. I do not see that happening for me. So I'll have to weld one side and then try to weld the other. Maybe it'll work, probably it will not, but either way we'll learn something, right? As I work this thing down, of course the diameter continuously gets smaller and smaller. So I'll eventually get to a point where I can heat the whole thing up to a welding temperature all at once. I'm not sure it'll matter by the time I get there, but I will be at least able to do that. So I keep telling myself, if you keep cleaning it well, you flux it heavily, and you get it up to temperature before you forge it, maybe it'll work out. So since it's such a strange shape, it has to be forged down quite a bit before these surfaces even make contact with one another. And of course we can't make a forge weld without contact. So I'm going to switch to a 10-pound hammer, and it is it's moving this metal. Since I used 3 pieces, I wound up with a weird lopsided hexagon. So it's a really odd shape to forge on. But it does seem to be sticking together. I'm just worried about the inclusions and cracks that we're going to find once I forge this out into a long bar, which is going to be a lot of work, and this is probably a size of a 2-pound hammerhead at the moment. Alright, so I have this forged down enough that I can get the whole thing up to welding temperature at one time now, which is really cool. So it forges down nicely when it's that hot. Woo! Just got a piece of skeleton on the back of my shirt. But actually, it looks like it is sticking pretty well. I guess we won't really know how well it did until it's forged down into a bar and I'm able to grind it. We can see if there are any cracks going deep down inside of it. But for now, it's looking like the main problem I was having was the heat, and that we were able to fix it. So this is all good news. It is so hot. I'm standing in a puddle of my own sweat. I've taken my shirt off and wrung it out several times. I'm going to have to call it a day. But good news. This looks like it's stuck together pretty damn well. There are some little spots on the surface where there were big gaps in between the cable originally. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to stick. Mostly just because I can't get powerful enough of a hammer blow to move the metal into itself. It's a thick piece. It would be a lot better to forge weld a piece like this with a power hammer or a press, obviously. But I did take this first piece and grind it down a little bit. It's probably hard to see in the camera here, but it looks like we have a success. It looks like this is going to be a good solid piece, and it amazed me because I didn't even unravel it and clean it out. But that definitely means that the issue I was having was with heat, because cleanliness on this one wasn't as good as it was on the first two. It still worked out better. So finally, a video where I didn't screw anything up. So I'm gonna grind off the outside of that bigger piece later once it gets cool, and then if everything looks good, I'll forge it out into a bar. If that doesn't look good, I'm going to go ahead and weld up those other 2 pieces of cable and try to stick them to this one, which I believe will work out just fine. So I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Again, thank you for joining me. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and like and subscribe. Have a good one.